Good evening, gentlemen. Here we are for episode 3 of the Seibert Show with our esteemed guest, Coach Hayes, the undisputed best drafter in Battle for Lombardi history. I don't think there's anyone who's going to contend with that, because if they did, they'd be wrong. So, what we're going to go over tonight is some first attempt at some interview questions. So, will it be some gotcha journalism? Will they be softballs? We're going for a little bit of a mix in between there. This will probably not be an all ages friendly show. So if you have children or pets that are easily offended, you should have them leave the room now.
Yep. Hide the women and children.
Say what?
I'm saying hide the women and children.
Yes, well, that's the way to put it there. Yeah. We're also going to go down and break out the new power rankings, which I'll post here after the show. But to begin with, we'll do a few questions just to get started with here. Hayes, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing okay. A little under the weather, but I'm doing pretty good.
Okay, man. I appreciate you taking the time, but one of the basic questions to start off with is when did you start playing Madden or NCAA?
I would say probably about 2006, 2007.
I'm having a hard time hearing you there, so.
I was saying around 2008, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Started playing NCAA. And then after that, ran into a couple of the guys in our league now, like TG and FB, Hack, Eric. You know, it was an odd way that we all met. Mm-hmm. Let's just say it was a funny way we all met. We were all in one league together, and we all kind of got booted out for some reason. The guy was,
I believe
the guy was a. So.
Okay. So, were you playing Madden from the jump, or were you one of us that was NCAA and then jumped to Madden later when NCAA no longer became an option?
Yeah, I was all NCAA until they discontinued it and had another choice but to, go to Madden.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think prior to...
Bring it.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm saying I hope they bring it back soon.
It's supposed to be next summer. That's what they're saying. I mean, if they don't, my heart's going to be broken because I'm counting on it. I mean, I've missed it quite a bit. I mean, prior to NCAA shutting down, I think I owned maybe 2 years of Madden ever, and I'd play my buddies, but I never took the time to buy it. It was not a priority for me.
Yeah, I never played Madden until after NCAA.
Yeah. All right. So, I guess that kind of answers part of what my follow-up to that would have been, which is, how did you, come to find yourself in the Battle for Lombardi here? I guess if you were hanging out with that motley crew already to begin with, kind of as this formed, you were there on the ground floor.
Yeah, it was. I don't even know how we came up with Battle for Lombardi. Actually, I do now. I remember because once we left, what do you call it? NCAA, which was Pack Lunch.
Okay.
We formed Battle for Lombardi, and I have to say, all these years, Hack been doing a great job as commissioner, and all the co-commissioners been doing a great job too. So, give yourselves a pat in the back for a great job.
All right. Let's see. Following up to that there, as far as we are to the present day with Madden now, in this current season, what would you call as a team that has surprised you the way they've played this season? That you had a certain expectation and that they're doing something different, be it better or worse? Your most surprising team.
My most surprising team, I have to say the Bears.
The Bears?
The Bears, yeah. Earlier in the, this edition, he was off to a slow start, but he's making some noise. Surprisingly noise. He's been, in the playoff hunt the last couple of seasons. It was just a matter of time before he joins the party.
Okay. All right. All right. Coming up there, speaking of users in the league again here. Let's say you're in a scenario where it's late game, the game is close, let's say one score, and you're on defense. You're trying to defend a lead. Who is the last user you want to see coming down the field that you have to figure out how to stop? So be brutal, hurt everyone else's feelings, and just put this person on a pedestal right here, whatnot.
The last person you want to see, I think, is be unanimous. King Henry. He's the last one you want to see coming late in the game.
That's hard to argue with. Yeah. He's a battering ram with speed. Yeah.
Yeah, either him or Zeke. Zeke is another one. They make you age quite a bit before that game is over.
That's true. Yeah, this was all Brown at the start of Madden this year. Yeah. Well, that's
Super Bowl with the too, huh?
Yeah, the Super Bowl with the Titans did that to me. Yeah. All right, so let's flip that there. Let's say you're on offense. You need points to win the game. Which defense bothers you the most to face? What user is gonna present the greatest challenge you think to you personally? You know.
The tough defense that if it's close, I have to say, there's plenty of time, I have to admit, it's very rare I admit this, and I choke quite a bit. That's against the Bucs defense.
Oh, well. We have been pretty successful so far versus y'all.
That front four, there's nothing to sleep on. That front four.
Okay. I can agree with that. All right. And throwing a random there. What is your favorite type of cheese?
My favorite type of cheese? You mean edible cheese?
You interpret it as you like.
I would say provolone if it's edible.
Provolone? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I was just making sure you didn't say something like the wide receiver direct snap in NCAA back in the day. Because that.
Oh yeah.
I still have nightmares about that play sometimes.
Oh yeah. Trust me, I had the same nightmare.
All right. We'll do a couple more before we jump into power rankings. All right. What would you call the most overrated team currently in our franchise? That their record or what people think of them, you think they get too much credit?
And you want me to be brutally honest?
Oh, absolutely.
I would say, It's a good one. Talent-wise, they're up there, but until they win the big game, I have to say the Eagles.
Ooh, you went there.
I had to go.
You do know you play him in a couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, in a couple of weeks, I know, and I'm sure they're going to try to run up the score. But we got the Brinks truck and pack waiting, so we'll see how it turns out.
Fair enough. I appreciate your transparency. All right. Another one.
Don't get me wrong, they got all the talent.
Yeah.
So they have all the talent in the league, but until they win the big one, still leaves that big old question mark.
Okay. Switching gears, Gip, a bit here. As far as the Maddens you've played, in your opinion, what's been the best version?
I would say the last two versions were better. This one's okay. Yeah. 21 and 20 was pretty good.
What and why did they get your vote?
It seemed like they were more smoother. And a lot of the plays, the guys would sit there and they could run the pattern properly. Granted, saying there were some glitches, but for the most part, the gameplay itself wasn't bad. It was pretty good, in my opinion.
Okay. That's fair. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and switch over to talking power rankings here. So, power rankings here. I'm looking for your feedback, Hayes, as we go along here. Otherwise, I'll just count them down.
Okay.
So, leading us off, actually, open this here. Last week, or I guess last week, week 6, we had coming in at the very bottom were the Chargers. And starting at number 18 again, because at this time we're not counting the Ravens, as they're not actually playing. It's going to be actually the Chargers still are going to be the team we're finding at the bottom. And we got to put them there because since a week 1 win over the Browns, they have dropped 7 in a row. And haven't really shown any signs of life so far this season.
Yeah, I wonder what's wrong with that team. They have plenty of talent on that team. I don't know if it's injuries that's hurting them or it's just if they're a snake bitten organization. Because they have the talent on the team there. It's just for some reason it's not putting it together.
Yeah. They won a playoff game, and were in the playoff game with the Jaguars, who went to the Super Bowl last year. So you know that it's not because they don't have the horses to get together. Yep.
Maybe we have to take a look at their front office.
Maybe. That's always a good place to start. Coming in at number 17 this week for the second consecutive week is going to be the Steelers. They're sitting there at 3-4. They dropped their most recent contest to the Raiders by a few touchdowns, and they got blanked by the Cowboys back in week 5. They've had a pretty tough schedule so far between dropping games to the Pats, the Eagles, Cowboys, and the Raiders. So none of those are losses to be ashamed of, but right now they don't have really anything to hang their hat on, so I don't really have much of a choice but than to leave them down there for right now.
The way I see it, first and foremost, I don't know if they still have Jameis Winston as a quarterback. If that's the case,
they do currently have Jameis.
Mm-hmm. That's the anchor to their team succeeding. I would say if they got another quarterback, well, he could challenge for the division.
It does appear they've been playing a Matt Beckman a good bit of a mobility guy with some strength to his arm, as he's got 8 touchdowns and 8 interceptions on the season. So I haven't looked to see if he's been starting recently, but it appears that the job for Jameis is far from secure right now.
Yeah, I think they should start giving him some competition. Probably put in the backup. Check the free agency, wire and see if they can find a quarterback that can challenge him.
For sure.
Winston is what's holding him back. And he should use Najee Harris a little bit more.
Najee Harris is a quality back, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, moving right along to number 16, we've got the Chiefs checking in. They've also played a pretty tough schedule, as they've taken losses to the Falcons, Jaguars, the Raiders, the Bucks, and the Dolphins as well. So no shame in the schedule they've played, but sitting at 3-5, their only win of any note really is over the aforementioned Chargers. So they've still got plenty of firepower. As long as you've got Mahomes and Hill, you're in pretty much every game. But as of right now, they're not really doing a lot, and that division out there in what is that? The AFC West is not exactly getting it done right now.
No, that's the price you pay for a first place schedule. It's not going to get easy.
Yep. Then coming up next is the Bears, which you'd mentioned some previously. They're only sitting at 4-4 right now. They've also had a little bit of a challenging schedule, but they've dropped games to the Seahawks, Cowboys, Packers, and Titans. But they have won the games they were supposed to against the computer, and a big test in the next 2 weeks coming up with the Panthers and the Jaguars, which will really determine if they fall even farther or if they rise back up in these rankings.
Well, their record, they should not be ashamed of their record. The losses came from quality teams and everything. Their next game against the Thundercats probably won't be as easy as either. It's going to be tough. So all they have to do is just stay focused and stick to their game plan.
Yep. Fields is a special talent. You just gotta put him in good situations.
Yeah, I agree.
Coming up next, we've got the Cards sitting at number 14. We had a fast start to the season for our commissioner. Since then, they've definitely had some some difficult times. Lost a nail biter in Week 6 to the Panthers, and then roughed up the computer in Week 7. But they've got a tough one in Week 9 coming up with the Cowboys. So that's I don't know if they'll be moving up any before the next rankings.
I don't know. That's a tough one against the Cowboys coming up. I'm glad to see Hack purchase the team since prior to he's getting fired, he had the last laugh by purchasing the Cardinals.
That's true. That's a very baller move to turn around and go from getting fired from an organization to being the man in the front office.
Exactly.
Yep.
But the team is loaded. They just have to get Isaiah Simmons to play at a Pro Bowl level.
You got Jamal Adams, Isaiah Simmons, Joey Bosa. So yeah, there's no lack of talent on that defense for sure.
Yeah.
All right, checking in at number 13 is another NFC West team, the Seahawks. They've also played a rather challenging schedule, having taken on the Bucs, the Packers, and then the Eagles in this current week so far this season. They're not doing too bad. I mean, they're sitting at 6-2, so it does seem like being back at number 13 seems kind of low, but you realize there are only 18 of us currently playing, and it's relatively. We're about at the halfway point of the season, so I mean, you're still going to have teams with good records not having the best ranking right now.
Yeah, I agree. The Seahawks, they're a sleeper too. They're a sleeper. A lot of people look at them as having a Big 12 offense and Big 12 defense, but
they have all the firepower for sure.
Yeah, they got plenty of firepower. They can light it up if they want to.
And last week's game, when they weren't able to put anything on the scoreboard versus the Bucs, shouldn't really be held too much against them because we had inclement weather out there, and for whatever reason, my team just plays at another level if there's rain or snow or it's really windy. I don't know why, if there's something in the ratings, but I feel like they definitely play at another level if it's less than perfect conditions out there.
The Bucs are an old school team. That's what it is.
I guess so. Checking in at number 12 is two-time Super Bowl champion Derrick Henry's squad, the Titans. Now, you may think, this is disrespectful, but once again, there's a team, you don't have anyone with more than 2 losses higher up on this rankings at this point. And they've got a pretty rough loss to the Dolphins in Week 7. And also got pasted pretty good by the Jaguars in Week 3. So, basically, kind of off the strength of those games, that kind of, for now, knocks them down a few notches. There's no doubt they're still a contender and still somebody you don't want to come see come the postseason. But at this moment, they're definitely not firing on all cylinders, I'd say.
Yeah, but then again, great. The Titans, they're ranked a little low, but again, maybe I'm jumping ahead, but the Dolphins is one of my Super Bowl picks coming in. I don't know if it's going to be a spoiler alert, but coming out of AFC, I think the Dolphins they got some dogs on that squad.
They do. We'll get to them here in just a moment. But first, coming up after the Titans, checking in is the Cowboys, sitting at number 11 right now on the season. The only setbacks they've had was a very close game with the Eagles that really could have gone either way. So I mean, they're definitely here and ready to prove that the win they got against them last season was anything but a fluke. And off that, I know there was some worry for a moment, didn't know if they were going to be with us, but I'm glad they're here because, like you said, with Zeke, this is a tough matchup for almost every team with what they can do on offense.
Oh yeah. Now, this is one of my favorite rivalries. There's been personal trash talk, the whole 9. So when they play each other, it's must watch.
For sure.
But the Cowboys, with Zeke, as long as Zeke is healthy, they're a contender. And the defense is pretty good, too. It's solid. I got them in a couple of weeks. The Thundercats got them in a couple of weeks. So I'm just hoping they get a couple of injuries here and there. Zeke go down and a couple of people on defense go down.
It's going to be the battle of bowling ball running backs. between Price and Zeke. Yep. Now, checking in at number 10, up from, I believe, 11 last week, is going to be the Bengals. Bengals also sitting there with a 6-1 record like the Cowboys, and they get that slight edge because while they also lost to the Eagles, they played a really close game with them as well. And just watching the two games, went back and sped through them both the past couple days. The Bengals really, I felt, showed me something in there. I think gotten back to Mixon, forgot how dangerous he is, and then Chase and Anderson giving lots of speed on the offense. I think this is a team definitely to keep an eye on. I like the pick, like you mentioned, of the you're having love for the Dolphins going to the Super Bowl. Look at the Bengals, and I see this is a team that, with the right bounces, that, I mean, Mixon is just as hard to deal with as any other dominant running back in the league.
I agree. I totally agree. They're a quiet team. You don't hear much about them. They just basically pack their lunch bags, put a hard hat on, and they basically just go to work. And you sitting there at 6-1 tells you that they're a solid team.
Yeah, not gonna have the prettiest stat lines all the time, but they can definitely beat anyone.
Yeah, they'll find a way to win one way or another.
All right, moving along to inside the top 10, and the first bit of real disrespect I'm sure someone will feel here as we check in and we find the Eagles sitting there at number 9. And you may ask why? Well, it's pretty simple. You lost another game and you had teams behind you win the game and move up. So, once again, they've got some good wins, and none of their losses are bad, but also at the same time, I think you got to realize their expectations here. Their expectation is not to make the playoffs, not to be competitive, but to actually win the Super Bowl. So when they've got, 2 losses at this point in the season, especially when they've had, an unbeaten regular season, twice? Then it's definitely below expectations at the moment.
Yeah, I agree with you. That team is stacked with talent. It's just for some reason, when the pressure comes, it seems like, they feel like they have to go, hide behind a coach or run back into the locker room for potty reasons. I don't know. It's just when crunch time comes along is when they don't show up. But
I will
I don't
remind
take anything.
Just so you know that I don't believe we have a mercy rule for user games, and he may be taking this into account with this with how you're going in.
Well, I'm expecting him to try to add 100 points. My job is to stop him from putting 100 points. And in the same breath, my goal is to drop 50 on him and shut him out. So hopefully his defense will show up.
Oh, we will be tuning in for sure. There's no doubt. No doubt.
Yeah.
Checking in at number 8, and a bit of a surprise team this season, especially with the survey results we got from the league, is the Falcons, sitting there with a 6-2 record, and that's largely off the strength of a couple of big wins, the win over the Eagles, and handling the Panthers their first loss of a season in what is shaped up to be one of the more intense rivalries in this Madden right now. Is those past, I think, 4 or 5 Falcons-Panthers games, I've watched all of them, and just as a fan of watching Madden, those have been just awesome games.
Yeah, I have to give it to the Falcons. They have an Olympic track team on offense, starting with Kyle Pitts and then the other wide receivers.
Yeah, Andrews, Brown, Ross.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. The only thing other than say they need to get another, like a DN or something like that, pass rush defense. Yeah. But with Grady Jarrett and Deion Jones, their front seven is solid. They have to get, they got to get off the field on third. That's what they do.
Yep. And they turned the former Panther Eubanks into a quality quarterback, sitting just shy of 2,000 yards and with 20 touchdowns already on the season.
Oh yeah, you got all that speed on offense. It makes this job a lot easier.
Sure does. All right, well, clocking in at number 7, a little bit of a tumble since last week, but still up there we're talking about, is the Panthers. They're sitting there, had a really successful season thus far, stubbed their toe a bit against the Falcons, but far from being a bad loss. And they've got a pretty intense schedule to wrap up the rest of the season with teams such as the Raiders, Bucks, Chiefs, and Eagles still to come. So they're definitely going to get tested.
Oh, yeah. Thundercats. Oh, man. They got a gauntlet coming. Starting off with the Bears. Then they have a CPU game. And then after that, it's a real gauntlet. We have the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Bucks twice. The Falcons, not the Falcons. One more. It's a stretch for us. So it's going to let us know through that gauntlet if we're a playoff team or we're just all hype.
Yeah, that's the way it goes. Bears, Cowboys, then Saints. And the Saints is really your last time you can take a breath because then Eagles, Bucks, Chiefs, Bucks, Steelers, and then Raiders to close it out. All very tough games.
All tough. Oh, yeah. So we'll see what we made of.
Yep. If you keep winning games, you'll definitely rise back up the rankings, no doubt. All right, and then moving on, as we go into the 6th spot, we have the Dolphins, your dark horse favorite out of the AFC. They're sitting there at 7-1, and their only loss they were on auto for in Week 2 versus the Pats. We'll see that rematch coming up in Week 9 versus them, and they had what I'd call rather impressive wins in Week 7 and 8 versus the Titans and Chiefs, both difficult teams, and they won both those games by 19 and 24 points respectively. So no small feat.
Yeah. Ever since Phil went on auto because he went to Mar-a-Lago, go golfing and everything.
Yep.
He came back from there and he seems, rejuvenated. He has that team pumped. He's quietly just reaching out in the NFC. I think he might be looking his Jags and for becoming in the AFC.
Yep.
As long as he do.
And we'll see that game in Week 10 actually between them two. So that could be a conference championship preview if they keep going the way they are.
Oh yeah.
All right, checking into the top 5. We got the Pats keep rising right now, coming off that their only setback so far this season was a competitive game versus the Titans in Week 4. They haven't really been challenged since then, but it's more so of a case of that other teams have stumbled a little bit. They've kept winning, and they will get a chance here in Week 9 against the Dolphins to prove if they deserve to be at this spot or not. They win that game, I think they probably hold tight in this position.
Yeah. I think they're quietly moving up. They're putting together, their team is staying healthy. We'll see what they can do. They got the Dolphins coming up. It's basically a measuring stick for both teams to see who's going to be division winner.
Yeah, because if the Dolphins drop this game, then they're probably staring at a wild card. They're often that basically being 2 games behind the Pats, having lost the season series. So it's a very important game for them.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, clocking in at number 4. Hold 1 second. Go to bed. Okay. Apologies. Clocking at number 4 is going to be the Raiders. They're sitting there still unbeaten at 7-0. I can't put them any higher just yet because their best wins are still just over the Chargers and Chiefs, they beat the Steelers as well, but they don't have a win versus anyone who also has been doing well. And definitely. Hey now.
Like alien communication going.
Yeah. Somebody not muted?
That's Hayes. Driving down the street. How are you?
Hold on. Hey, do you have something in the background there?
I'm here.
Hold on. Wait a minute. I think it was Phil. I think it was those Dolphins. Yep.
Yeah.
And absolutely minimized my browser window, and now I can't find it. Wait, there it is. Okay. All right. Sorry. Technological difficulties there. I'm getting old and partially blind. So, jumping right back into the Raiders. They're sitting there unbeaten at 7-0. So, And they'll get a chance to justify that in the coming weeks. Though, honestly, they've got one of the easier schedules with the only other teams they've got with a record close to their left on their schedule are the Bucks, Bengals, and Falcons, and then Panthers to end the season. So as far as some of the path for some of the other contenders go, theirs is relatively mild. So how good are they really? I'm honestly not sure at this moment.
Yeah, I agree with you. The record looks good, but they're not really quality wins. As the season goes on, they got some real games coming along. We'll see how they do against them. I'm waiting for the no-fly zone to come to Charlotte to see if they can handle the pack and bring truck. Hint, hint.
Yes, that should be a fun one to watch for sure.
Yeah.
Checking in at number 3, speaking of teams with boasting no-fly zones, we have the Packers. Now, even though they're sitting there at just 5-2, those losses come to the only 2 teams that are still left for us to rank here in the Bucks and the Jaguars. And they took out the Seahawks, they took out the Bears. I mean, it may not be a lot of impressive wins, but you could argue they have the 2 best losses right now. And I don't think there's any dispute of, where they belong in the pecking order. So for right now, this is probably where they're going to stay unless they, stub their toe significantly. Because they also don't get another big challenge till they see the Eagles, Titans, and Dolphins to close out the season. So that'll be very interesting to see if they're in coast mode for that gauntlet there, or if they power through those to try to set them up for the playoffs, but hopefully avoid injuries at the same time.
They're a quality team. I think that they're one of those teams that will always stay in the top 5. Them and the Eagles should always be in the top 5 in the power rankings. They're stacked on offense. They're stacked on defense. They'll always make noise in the NFC. Them, the Eagles, the Bucks, also the Cowboys. You can't sleep on them. They'll always be the powerhouses in the NFC. So where they're fitting at right now, it's a nice spot for them.
Yeah. So there's Love has definitely transformed a bit further. I mean, he's no Aaron Rodgers just yet, being what his rating is 83 overall right now, but he's got enough mobility to be very effective on the play action and rollouts, and his arm is quite fantastic. He's got that 92 throw power. You'll forget he's actually 6'4" as well, so he's got a really good size also.
Yeah, 6'4". That's perfect height.
Mm-hmm.
Let him allow the team over the whole line, and like you said, his ability to get outside helps him a whole lot.
Yep, he is a slippery character to deal with. And checking in at 2 right now, we have the Bucks moving on up there. I may be biased. I think it's boosted a bit by an impressive victory versus the Seahawks last week. And their only setback all the way back in week 1 was to the Eagles. Not a loss to be ashamed of. But at the same time, we'll get the coming weeks to prove ourselves between combination of the Raiders, the Falcons, and Panthers in our next 4 games. That will prove if we belong up here or we just belong farther down the rankings after that stretch.
Well, the Bucks are always going to get the benefit of the doubt because they are the reigning Super Bowl champ. They brought the title home to the NFC and the NFC South. So they'll always get the benefit of the doubt, and they get bias from both the Thundercats and the Falcons. But no, it's a perfect spot for the Bucks. Some people could say they can move up a little bit. Some people might hate and say they're up too high, but I think it's a nice, comfortable spot for them right now.
All right, and that leaves us with only the Jaguars. Now, we surely didn't think they were going to be in this spot when the season started. I mean, in week 1, they dropped a game to the Vikings by 20 points. That's just, no one expects them to lose that game, much let alone, by multiple scores. But since then, they dropped the Titans. They outlasted the Packers in a shootout and held off to get a very impressive win over the Eagles as well. So I mean, nobody else has 3 wins that stack up to those by any measure. For me, that's enough to overshadow the early season indiscretion, and they get a few tests the next couple weeks to show if this is deserved. Cause they got the Titans, Dolphins, and Bears coming up, and after that, other than the Bengals and Pats a little later on, they're probably have the inside track for home field advantage.
Yeah, I think that loss to the Vikings woke them up. I think they probably just slept on them. They probably partied the night before, had a couple of drinks, hit a couple of strip bars, and got to the locker room, and they, trying to find a way to get rid of that hangover. And the Vikings took full advantage of it. Ever since then, they've been on a rampage.
Yep. Yeah, I think our last ranked team won their week 1 game, and our first place team lost their week 1 game. So. You never know how things are going to turn out after the way the season begins. Yeah. So anyway, and I will update these rankings here in just a bit right now, and they'll go live. I think for now that is going to be definitely one of the standards you do with these shows, is that whatever the most current rankings are, we'll try to have a reveal on there, something to talk about. But for now here, I'm going to get into a few more questions about you and your Madden life, in other words.
First of all, I'm ready.
If we had the NCAA game right now, we're setting up to play a dynasty, who would you be rolling with, and why?
I would say one of 3 teams, actually 4. In this order: Fresno State, because I know we always start with 1-star team.
Okay.
And as crazy as it may sound, that's how I met Phil. NCAA, he was San Jose State, I was Fresno State, and ever since then we've been like this. But if not, I would be North Carolina or Tennessee or maybe even Penn State.
Okay. And why those teams?
I like.
You just like
I don't know, something about teams. They're good, but they never get respect. They're always the underdogs. I don't care who they play, they get absolutely no respect. They could play, let's say, McNeese State, a 1AA team. They probably get no respect. They probably think that they would choke. I always like the underdogs. Pretty good teams, but underdogs.
So brands, but you'd want to take them over the top there, get them that extra recognition they lack. Okay, all right, I like it. All right. Jumping in back to questions about different users in the league there. We know some of us excel in different areas here. Right now, if you had to take all factors of how someone plays, meaning I'm going to count in roster building, their actual user skills, the way they manage the salary cap, and their strategy. Who do you think has the most balanced, the most well-rounded approach right now? Who would you look at and see? Yeah.
And all around, put that all in one picture. I'd have to say, it would be a tie, actually. And as crazy as it may sound, I would say the Eagles and the Packers. They never seem to get into any salary cap problems, and they stay stacked every year. So I don't know if they grabbed the black book of Hayes drafting or what, but they've been pretty good.
And they both use it rather effectively as well. You're going to get thumped or picked off if you put that ball in danger at all.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Okay. Speaking on the line of developing there, in your opinion, if someone came to you, they're brand new to this franchise, they haven't played Madden at all before, and they've got this young star player they've picked up. Want to know, okay, how am I going to turn this guy into not just a dude with potential, but to the next superstar, the next guy who's gonna lead the Panthers offense to glory? How do you tell this new coach what's important? I guess what the Hayes philosophy of building talent.
I would say collect your lumps early. It'll pay off later. don't let the overall fool you. Let's look at like the Brinks truck. I got him in the 6th round, at the end of the 6th round,
Mm-hmm.
and he was just 67 overall. And he's a superstar, Pro Bowler. Almost ran for 2,000 yards the first couple of years. I'll tell the new players to stick with him. If you have a gut feeling that he has potential, stick with him. And the only way that you should pull him out is if you find someone better than him.
Okay, I like it. All right. Let's see. All right, we'll switch gears again here to. Let's see. If you were ranking user skills in this league and making yourself, let's say, a top 3 rankings. Doesn't have to. You can put them in order if you want, or you can just say these are the top 3. I would encourage you to put them in order. Perhaps challenge whoever you rank at 2 and 3, because usually these are people who have some pride in their gameplay and are going to all feel they're number 1. So, comes to usering, people are going to make that pick or dance around you with the running back like you're sitting there with the controller on the floor. Who's at the top right now?
The top 3?
Yes, sir.
I'd have to say AMU, which is the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
Eric, I would say he's the toughest one I played. The other 2, I would have to say. See, I would have said the Eagles, but I think I only played them once. So this will be my second go round with him. I would say again, the Dolphins with Phil. He's always given me a tough way to go, and is another one that gives me a tough way to go is Hack with the Cardinals. He made me lose. You see this ball spot up there? That's Hack. That's all Hack.
Oh wow.
When I first started, I had an afro. He made me lose everything.
I'd like to see a picture of that.
I think my wife would kill me if I show you a picture of me with an afro.
that like that, huh? Okay, all right. For you personally, and playing other coaches, who would you consider right now to be your biggest rival?
My biggest rival. We always play it close. We always play it tough. I have to say the Monsters of the Midway, the Chicago Bears. Yeah, for some reason, no matter how good either team is or how bad either team is, we always seem to play down to the wire. We may have maybe 1 or 2 blowouts against each other. He might blow me out by 3 scores, or I might blow him out by 3 scores. But for the most part, it's always a tough grind between the 2 of them.
Okay, all right.
So next time we play this week, I want you to injure or bench some of your players.
We'll see what we can do about that there. All right. So, and question I meant to ask earlier, I forgot. Who is your top 3 actual NFL teams? If you had to rank, who would you consider yourself the biggest fan of, and who are your second and third choice? If you had to declare your fandom of and support against
regular NFL.
Yeah, regular NFL teams.
I would say, of course, first and foremost, the Bayou Bullies, the New Orleans Saints. Then I'd have to go with my wife's favorite team. I know, sorry TG, sorry, but it has to be the Rams. My third team, as crazy as it may sound, I have to say, maybe because I'm a Leo, but the Detroit Lions.
So that sounds like that underdog streak you've got there. They definitely qualified to that.
Oh yeah.
All right.
That's a snake bit.
And to lead up, we have a Saints question. Have here, and this is going to be a classic MFK question, as the kids say here. So, marry one, sleep with one, and kill the other. And here are your three choices. You have Sean Payton, Drew Brees, or the the oldest Manning. I can't even think of his name at the moment. Peyton and Eli's father.
Peyton. Cooper is the oldest.
No, their father.
Archie.
Archie Manning. Those are your three there. As a Saints fan, you got your original superstar, the coach that took you to a Super Bowl, and then Drew Brees, who also took you to the Super Bowl. Which is which here for you?
I would love to keep Sean Payton. The other two we can always replace, but
so you're gonna
marry Payton.
You're gonna marry Sean Payton? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, marry Sean Payton. All right.
Yep.
So and a night of passion with, who's that gonna be? And you got to kill the other.
I think it would be Drew.
So you're playing with Drew. So.
Yep.
Oh man.
And then I'll throw a couple of winks over there to Archie every once in a while. Send him a couple of drinks over, just in case I strike out with the other two.
So he gets the axe then. Okay. All right. Well, that is about most of what I've got for tonight. I've gotten about to the point in time I want to go to, and I haven't gotten yelled at by the wife yet. So, anything you want to?
Have any other questions?
I've got a few rough ones, but I don't want to ask them all every time. I've got to. This is gonna be an evolving list over time. I want to have a set up.
I got a question.
Okay.
What's your Super Bowl prediction? Who do you think is going to be there?
Are you talking
when the dust settled?
In this season?
Yeah, this season and before out. Who's going to be in the B4L Bowl?
Who's going to be in the B4L Bowl? If I had to pick right now, based off what I've seen from different teams, I think we see a rematch of last season.
That's a good one.
I think we've got the talents and are only getting better, and I think the Jags are quite hungry, and their formula is working well also. So let the disrespect flow. Feel slighted. Try to knock me off my pedestal.
I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of hate letters, especially from the Philadelphia area.
There's a chance. There's definitely a chance. So be sure to remind me that he won in week 1. But yeah, no, I do still have other questions, but I don't want to spend them all necessarily because I like to have you on again sometime. I'm looking to grow this list.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll take this time to mention once again, guys, please send me questions or thoughts you have you want to add to this. Because, I want to make this fun, find out some things you want to ask. I appreciate and much love to all of those who sent stuff in. It really added some good ones. Oh, in fact, I'm going to throw one more here on the end here. Make it a two-part. So, the Panthers are in the playoffs. You've got to face You've got to face 2 more teams. One in the conference championship game and one in the Super Bowl. In this perfect scenario, who are you beating in those 2 games to win the championship? So you're getting an NFC and an AFC team. Who is going to be in your way to cap off the best season in Panthers history?
That's a really good one. I know this user is probably licking his chop after watching this episode, so I'm going to go big and say I would like to either see one of the 2 teams from the NFC East, preferably the Eagles. If not the Eagles, the Cowboys.
Okay.
And after that, the AFC for the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see the Raiders or the Dolphins.
Okay.
I would love to test the no-fly zone, and I just know that the Dolphins are just one of those sleepers.
Awesome. I like it. And the last question to close it out, what is your message to the rest of the league, the NFC in particular, for the rest of this season? What should they know about the Panthers? I'll leave them with the lasting thought here.
We're going to make sure that any team we play, just make sure you got plenty of ice in the ice tub, because you guys want to feel us coming.
Phrasing?
Yep. So quarterback, make sure you got a bottle of Advil in your locker because you're getting your bell rung.
All right. Well, I appreciate you taking the time, sir. And
Thank you for having me.
hey, we'll do it again sometime, and I look forward to my next victim next week as well. So, y'all have a great night. Be blessed, and I'll see you all
See you
on the
guys.
field. Bye.
Much love to everybody.